Hello everyone, welcome to Com 2026. Today we're going to talk about the simple IO in Java. This part will be excluded from the MC quiz. So, Java thus provides many ways to interact with users, as well as reading data from different sources. We call these input and output, or IO. The most common one is to read things from your console or command line interface. Basically, we just put up text in your screen and then read some text back. Java does provide a very nice framework to play with the graphical user interface, such as using Swing or Java prefix. We will show you the capability of Java. How would that be able to use this Swing or Java FX framework in your assignment 3? File I/O basically saying that we could use Java to read some files and write data into a files. Network I/O allow us to read data from the network using something called a socket. In Java, there are multiple ways allow us to put things onto the command line interface, such as using print, printline, and printf. Let's look at that how it works. So for instance, we say system.out.print and A. Well, what this is going to do is to put the word hello onto the screen, like here. Now after hello, we will have an underscore here, which is the cursor symbol. This cursor symbol is invisible from your screen. It is a logical symbol that the program will remember where the cursor is. When it's going to print some more things, the data will be printed follow this cursor symbol. So when we print B plus C after this one, B, which is com, C 2026, will be printed after hello. Now what is different than print line and print is that after printing the things, a new line symbol will be printed. Or simply move the cursor to the next line. So the cursor is moved here. And then we print new line again, we will print on the second line. Printf is the third way to print things. It is inherited from the language C. In printf, what we're doing here is to insert a format string in the first argument, and then we will put two or more variables after that. For instance, here we have hello %s and %d. The %s and %d act like a placeholder. %a tells the program that I am going to print a string at this point. %d tell I'm going to print an integer at this point, where this is filled by the value of b and c in the given argument. We can have any numbers of variables after this format string. We could have no format string, one format string, two. We have one variables after format string, two variables after the format string, or more than that. Okay. Now, so what is happening is eventually the values of B and C will be placed at this placeholder and become hello com 2026. This %s or %d we call format specifiers. There are some more format specifiers such as %d, %f, %s, %b, and %c, which represent integer, decimal numbers, string, boolean, and character, respectively. We could also make some variants on those formatted specifiers. For instance, we can add a number between percent sign and d, which tells the program that I want to have at least 5 characters in 5 characters or 5 digits in this integer. If the variables is going to print has less than 5 digits, what this is going to do is some space will be added in front of this digit to make it 5 digits. If your integer is more than 5 digits, no space will be added. When we print decimal numbers, let's say percent f, we can say percent dot 5f, which is specifying I want to have exactly 5 decimal places. Okay, by default, this is taking 6 decimal places. Similarly, we can say percent 7f, which takes 7 characters, including the decimal point, okay, onto the screen. If eventually you have less than 7 characters, some space will be inserted. Now, there is a symbol percent /n here, which represent a new line symbol. Okay, so basically after printing those things, we will have a new line symbol and shift the cursor to the next line. Printf itself will not insert a new line symbol. You have to add it manually by a /n symbol. Okay, and you can see from this example, I, F, and S are placed in order into this formatted string. Alternatively, if you want to have some variables into your screen, but you don't want to print it with printf, you can use printline to handle it, such as this one. Okay. Now, /n that we have just seen is a new line symbol. There are multiple new line symbols as we have introduced in chapter 1. Okay, so for instance, these are new line symbol. This is a tab symbol. What we call these are escape characters. Okay, let's take a look of some more about formatted strings. So for instance, we have %d and then we have 2 bar here. Now this 2 bar symbol is placed to help us to measure the number of space that is displayed. Okay, so here we display d, the value d directly using %d is format specifiers. Okay, well we just put the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. %9d means that we want to have 9 digits in this character. If there's not more, if your number has less than 9 digits, we will insert some space. So basically, we will insert 3 more space here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Okay, you understand this one. %60, because we have exactly 6 digits, so no space will be added. %5d, your number integer has a longer value than 5 digits, so no space will be added. At the same time, we do not trim anything because the minimum place that we need to span will be 6 digits. Okay. Now, similarly, if you want to print some float number, we can use % symbol to help us. So here %f will be this one. By default, we're taking 6 decimal place. So that will be 0.1234557. If you want to have less than that, you can have %.5f. That will have 0.12346. Okay, it will do a round off for you. Okay, whether it is round up or round down. %9f means we want to have 9 character space to hold this value. Okay. Now by default we are taking six decimal place, right? And then we have a dot, and then we have a 0. Okay. So altogether we have 8 digits, 8 characters, I should say. Okay. So we want %9f, which means we need an addition space in front of that, which make us 0 point, okay, 0 point. So basically what it means is we need to have a space and then 0.1234567. Okay. This is exactly the same as %9.6f, well, because remember the default number of decimal place will be 6. Okay, we can make %9f, what is 9 tells the total length of your numbers, and dot something means that how many digits, decimal place you are taking. So here, %9.6f means 9 place, and 6 of them will be decimal place. 10.2f, well, we are printing f plus d. D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then plus f. Okay. So we need 2 place for our decimal place. So that will be 2 digits. Okay. And 1 decimal point, that will be 3 characters. And then 6 digits from D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So altogether we have 9. And totally we need 10 place, 10 space to print it. So similarly, we will insert a space in front of it. Now this, you can see the formatted string will be very, very useful if you want to print things in, with proper alignment. Okay. Next, we want to talk about inputs. In doing inputs, we will also going to see your first object in Java. We haven't talked about object yet. Okay, later you will know what is an object. The characteristic of an object is the variable object will usually has a dot, okay, playing with it. So in order to use this scanner class, scanner object, a scanner object helps us to accept input from user from the command line interface. Java.util.scanner. Okay, this line has to be at the top of your program. Okay, and then we will have scanner equals to new scanner system.in semicolon. This small scanner, a lowercase, this scanner in lowercase is a variable. Okay, and you can change the name of this scanner to some other thing. For example, input, for example, my scanner, yeah, that is okay. This capital K scanner is not changeable. This refers to a specific class in Java. We want to use this class to do things for us. Okay? And if you want to accept some input from the screen, basically what we're doing is to do string as equal to scanner.next. That will help us to accept some string. So to input things from the program, we can use the following things. Okay, the scanner will react when you have the enter key pressed. Each inputs are separate by either a enter or space. A line may contain more than one inputs. If you say next, okay, scanner.next, it will give you a string. If you say next int, that will give you an integer. Next double, that will give you a double. Next boolean, next flow will give you boolean and flow respectively. Now, when we say it will give you, it is the case that when user properly enter the symbol. Now, so take a look at this example. String name equals to scanner.next. Int age equals to scanner.int. Okay, next int. Weight equals to scanner.next float. Now, what is happening here is we will wait for user to input three things separated by space or enter. For the first input, Kevin, when it is encounter a space or an enter, now these things will be fed into the string name. Okay. 30, this one will be our second input. Now, in this case, the user does not press and enter. Instead, it put a space. So this 30 will be treated as a token, as an integer, and given to the int age. Okay, and 220 here will be put into the weight. So this is the case where age and weight will be printed accordingly. Now, although the weight we input is not a decimal number, apparently we input an integer here, the program will still work because a flow can definitely handle an integer. However, if you try to input a flow number into integer, or if you try to input a character into a flow, the program will go crazy and throw exception, make your program terminate in the middle. So in these two videos, we have talked about the variable scopes and basic CLI command line interface I/O. I hope you can understand this, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.